my dad would always say, like, how can you run more than one store? Like, you can't be there all the time. And, I said, well, in order for us to grow, you're right, we can't be there. We have to trust other people and try and train them properly. And I mean, there's obviously companies that do it. Everybody does it. It's just, you got to be able to train them properly. And so that was our goal, was to open more stores and to try and be the training center and help other locations be successful.
Welcome to the Risk Ready podcast, brought to you by Reliance Insurance. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with retired CFL All-Star Noah Cantor, who speaks on his transition from professional sports to owning one of Vancouver's favorite spots, Veras Burger Shack. Risk exists wherever you are. Are you risk ready?
No, you were very inviting and easy to, bring kind of a young, scared kid into that world.
Oh, good. I'm glad you remember that. I remember it as you were going to be a first-round draft pick, and I was nervous you were going to beat me up one day, so I had to be as nice as possible.
Yeah, you played the long game because you kicked my butt in the 2004 Grey Cup in one of those moves. I'm thinking, I thought he was nice to me. Yeah, that's that long play. So, yeah. I mean, we look back, and that was 20 years ago now.
I still remember we used to go out and put the pads on and do some one-on-ones before this whole thing started.
That's right. I was that Keener guy actually trying to get extra football work.
But we all were, right? We were just trying to work on our reps. Yeah. And I remember working with you early.
And now you're 50.
Now I'm 50. Well, you're almost 45. So
I'm almost 45. Don't remind me. I'm that guy that keeps forgetting now.
It goes fast. There was a couple of years my kids would tell me how old I was. I said, no, that's not true. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm 45 or 46. I was like, I would lie to them. But in my head, I was like, I didn't feel it. So.
In our head, we're 20 forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or we're 20 or 25 forever, whenever it peaked, right? Except sometimes the wake up and those joints don't feel that way.
Yeah, definitely not. And that's the old joke, right? Can you go back and play? I'm like, I'm good for one play.
Sure. Yeah.
One play.
You can do it. I couldn't wake up the next day, though.
Short yardage only. Just right down at your ankle.
Yeah. Clear the agenda for the next 2 weeks because I'm not going to be able to move. Well, what about that now? So 50, you're a longtime pro athlete. I was a longtime pro athlete. What does activity look like for you now? Do you play basketball? Do you get out there?
I was playing basketball for a while. Obviously last year didn't happen. And the year before, it was more pickup. When you go play in those men's leagues and stuff, you got guys that are fresh out of college. And
they take it seriously.
And they take it seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And I was actually playing at VC for a little while. There was some pickup game with some older guys. So I would continue playing if it was in a men's league or something a little bit older, but the young leagues are too tough to play.
Yeah, I know. You do hit that break point where it's like you gotta retire from that even, right?
Yeah, we just built a gym for the family, for the kids in the house, so we've been working out a little bit and really just fly fishing. I've been out fishing as much as I can.
We'll get to that in a moment.
All
We're
right.
sticking on sports. Are you coaching up?
Are you saying fishing's not a sport?
No. Yeah, fishing's an activity.
Okay.
Or do they call it a pastime? And there is differences, beyond subtle, I will say, between activities and sports.
I do get a little sore sometimes after a full day. But
is there a training camp and is there a vetting process to cut you?
No cuts.
Yeah,
no cuts.
See, there are differences.
All
not that it's bad or good,
Yeah.
but let's make sure. What about your kids? You coaching them up then, or how are they involved in sports?
Kids are daughter Rachel, my oldest daughter, who's in second year university, danced for a long time.
Wait a minute, second year university? I was babysitting for Rachel.
Babysat Rachel. She is now in her second year kinesiology at Queen's.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so all grown up. Danced for the longest time. Did not coach a bit of that.
Shocking.
Couldn't help her at all.
Didn't have a defensive lineman coaching dance.
No advice, no nothing.
Yeah,
just,
smart move.
Yeah, just
support.
I'll sit and watch, enjoy the show.
Sure. Yeah.
And then she stopped dancing in grade 11 and started playing rugby.
Whoa.
So, yeah, total flip of the switch and played rugby for 2-3 years.
That's a big thing now, though, isn't it? Girls rugby, like it's blown up in the last decade or something, right?
Going to watch those games, they play like it's real rugby, and
girls are intense now.
Oh, it was intense, and it was hard to see the coming up and smashing each other. It was hard to watch.
Did she love it from day one? Right in there?
I think she did. She really did.
Wow.
She liked it, and I tried early to get her to play basketball or sports, but she loved dancing, and dancing was great for her, and so she played rugby up until last year, and then that's it. She was thinking about trying out at Queens, and then just never got around to it, and focused on her school. And
what kind of sports dad are you? Are you outside of dance, when you're watching competitive, are you able to just kick back and enjoy your children having fun? Or do you get into Noah Cantor, hyper athlete, competitor, and get yourself so fixated on what's going on?
It's a tough one, right? Because I don't want to be the parent that's yelling and screaming at them.
We don't need any more of those.
And we don't need it, and you see it everywhere. And so try and be supportive, and didn't really push into any sport that they follow what you want to do, and I'll support either way. And my middle daughter Maya played basketball in high school, and it was just great watching her play. And so I never really coached her. As she, I tried to take her out, and she just
not
wasn't
interested. Shocking.
At all. Like no part of it. But Wes, I got to coach when he was younger basketball and flag football, and coached them for years. And it's same. Love watching him play. Because I coached him a little bit in flag football, he probably saw a different side. But try not to be overbearing. Just wanted to support them and let them play their game.
Yeah, good for you. Good lesson.
Yeah,
all the
it's
parents
hard. It's
out there.
hard. It's because you want to.
You're wired to compete.
You want them to work hard, and they do. They do it in their own way, right? But but it's fun. I enjoy watching them play and doing anything really. Like, it's just fun to watch them love what they do.
And what about you growing up? I know you played football and basketball. Was that kind of from the get-go as a child? Did you play both sports, or was there more also?
Yeah, I played all through high school: football, basketball, rugby. And really, basketball was sort of my love. I love basketball the most, and just a little better at football, or thought I had a better chance of playing football in university. So, but really loved basketball and liked rugby as well.
And St. Mary's, right?
I went to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, and you played university football at that high collegiate level. But maybe a lot of our listeners who even maybe know your career might not realize you played a little college basketball too.
I played a little bit of college basketball. I got in my fourth year, three guys got suspended from a game. And
one game.
They got suspended for a game.
Can you do what do three people get suspended from one basketball game? What do you got to do?
I think there was a fight.
I hope so.
Yeah, there was a fight in the game, and three of the guys got suspended, and I had played pickup with a lot of the guys before, and I knew the coach, and I think I even teased early in my when I first got there, I thought I could do both. I wanted to play football and basketball.
I thought I could too, Noah, but a lot of people don't realize your reality versus your thought. But you're one guy that pulled it off.
Well, I literally wanted to, and after the season, we went to the venue my first year. School wasn't the focus at that time. We were just it was
shocking.
We just went so far. It was like we were trying to win it all, and after the season, I was done. Like, I physically drained. I needed to catch up in school. Like, I don't think I could have went out and played basketball at the time. So as much as I wanted to, it sort of ended there. And then my fourth year, when I got a chance to play the one game, it really sparked, a chance to go out and play again. And I had such a great time.
Wait a minute. So you was it late in the season? They just
bring
you out of
midway through the season.
Were you in the stands?
I played for no.
How many practices?
This is the game after, so I got a week of practice.
Zero other collegiate basketball competitively on a team.
Yes.
You show up 1 week of practice. You're playing college basketball on your fourth year.
Yes. Three for three, by the way.
Three
for three, 5 rebounds.
3 for 3.
So, and like I said, just got thrown in. But I was playing. I was playing intramurals. I was playing all the time, like basketball.
There's a jump between intramurals and collegiate college basketball.
For sure. But I was playing. It's not like I just said, "Oh, I can go play." Like, plus I'm 6'4". Like, I can fit in. And,
so did the entire football team? Were they in the
crowd?
It
was at St. FX.
Okay, so road game.
Yeah, so it was road game, and I got abused on the road.
Did their full football team come out to give it to you?
I got abused. I wish I had the film. I do have the film at home, but I wish I brought it.
We'll find the film.
Short shorts, tight shirt. Like, the jersey was so tight. It was terrible. Like, it was before the sort of baggy outfits.
Yeah, your Larry Bird, circa 85 look.
And I'm in the off season. It wasn't pretty. But it was fun. I had a great time, and it was my draft year, so I didn't want to. So I think I could have stayed on the team for a little bit, but I wanted to train and I wanted to focus on football. And then so I didn't get drafted that year, but next year I went back and my focus was I'm going to go do both. I'm going to play football and basketball. I'd already graduated. I'd lost a bunch of weight in the off season. I just played basketball, and the sort of same thing happened. I started practicing with the team after the season, played a game. And then 2 days later, I got an offer to go sign a free agent in Toronto.
So your fifth year, you were actually planning on playing a complete basketball season. So it was almost like a backwards thing where the year before you weren't really planning on playing basketball. They bring you out. This one you're planning on it, and you get the one game and you're gone.
I talked to the coach. It was organized. I was playing. Played the one game as soon as after a couple weeks of training. Played the first game, and then next thing I know, I signed a contract. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I got to go really train for football.
Wow. So that was and I didn't know that. So your intro to the CFL wasn't getting drafted. It was the year after signing as a free agent in the middle of your collegiate basketball season.
Correct.
And how quickly after leaving school were you in an Argos training facility?
That was end of November. I was home in January training, and went to training camp. Yeah.
What was your weight swing? Because you probably dropped a few pounds to get ready for that basketball season.
I dropped about 20 in the summer before I got to my 5th year. But it didn't take long to sort of gain it back again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was focused to lose some weight and play basketball. And but I really had January to, I guess it's May to train and get bulk up again.
I think a lot of listeners here may not appreciate 20-pound swings for football players isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Especially when you're 6'4".
Yeah.
We played with guys that would almost have 20-pound swings in an afternoon.
Yeah.
They'd play a game down 20, next day back up. That happens when you have larger frames than the average person.
Yeah. It's just a matter of eating again, right?
eating
again and training again.
Yeah.
It was, I was still working out, but it wasn't the same heavy reps, and I was trying to lean out, and it's a different training.
So when you entered the CFL, was it big plans of having a long career? Was it something that was, hey, I'll give this a shot? What was the mindset at that point for you thinking of pro football life?
It was trying to make the team.
Yeah.
I mean, especially coming in as a free agent, not getting drafted the year before, not getting drafted was devastating. Like I thought I had a really good college career, and not going in as a free agent, you have no expectations. You do your best, right? So I trained real hard and worked every day in practice, and lucky to make the team.
Did you know anybody your first year?
No.
Wow, that must have been difficult. Hey, you come in, and as people may not appreciate too, if you're not a first, second, or maybe that's it, round draft pick, anything past that, odds get pretty slim to be able to make the CFL roster, which is tight to begin with, and turnover is not big.
Yeah, no St. Mary's guys on the team. Like, didn't really know anybody.
Coaches didn't really know you. You were just a guy they brought in.
Coaches didn't know me. Yeah, exactly. And I actually think I got lucky because it was that year we had a 3-day rookie camp. We did a 3-day training camp with just rookies,
which was not common, right?
Which they stopped doing, I think, after that year. Like it never happened again.
Yeah.
But it was good because it gave me 3 days to sort of work your way up to where you should be or think you should be, and then you go into camp. You're sore, but you got a bit of a warm up going in, and
you've shown the coaches a little bit who you are.
And you've got
right?
to see the coaches,
yeah.
right? Exactly. They're not just focused on the veterans.
Yeah.
They're all of a sudden you're working your way. Now they know who you are at least, and I think that was a big bonus for me that I just didn't get lost in a training camp.
No, I think that's huge, and I think we can even speak to that even in the business world when you bring new people in that are not experienced at that level. Having some sort of micro training camp almost with peers gives everyone a head start to get comfortable, to be seen before, you get put up against people that have done this maybe for years and years and years, which, could be really tough. And you're right, nowadays, they don't have that rookie camp as, I don't think they have it at all anymore. And you walk in and you're amongst everyone else who's already established, already known, already comfortable, and you're trying to not only find your way, but be noticed.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do. And you're right. It's a challenge to be comfortable enough to let yourself excel, right? And luckily, I think having that 5th year at university playing gave me another year of maturity, and so I think I felt ready at the time. But like I said, I didn't know anybody, and when you're a first, second round draft pick, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you have a better shot. They took a chance on you, right?
They want you.
They want you.
You're their guy,
right?
You got to almost show that you're not.
Like in my head, like you were guaranteed, right? You were a first round draft pick.
You're their choice.
I was, and so like I said, I think that 3-day camp really helped me.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Ball, president of Reliance Insurance. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for trusting Reliance with your insurance protection. It's a responsibility we take seriously every day. We also take seriously our commitment to our community. And the faith we have in our Reliance community has brought us a ray of sunshine in what has otherwise been a bleak year. Let me explain. Late last year, we found out that Steve, one of our customers, was in dire need of a kidney transplant. He had exhausted all of his resources to find a match. On Steve's behalf, we sent out a plea to you, our customers, trying to help Steve. I'm very pleased to report that another customer stepped forward and volunteered to donate a kidney. Recently, we were advised that the donor had passed all of the necessary tests, kidney was a match, and that the surgery was currently being scheduled. We thank the donor for their generosity, which reminds us all once again the value of strong communities. Thank you again for your business, and thank you for the power of our community. It will see us through to better times.
So walk me through your first year. You make the team.
Yeah.
And then what does the first year or two look like in terms of trying to establish yourself as someone that's, really, really going to be part of this team? Because and I know there's a difference between making that first squad out of camp and then becoming kind of a member of the team, a part of the team.
For sure. For me, you learn quickly that special teams is important,
Right.
and the chance to be on the team is, do whatever it takes to make the team and do whatever it takes to play. And that meant playing special teams, all of a sudden covering punts and kickoffs, and it was fun. Like, it was, you learned early that the young Canadian kids, they're all trying to play special teams, and you build this bond with these kids that are take pride in playing special teams. Where the last couple of years university, it wasn't a focus for me. I played defense. I didn't really. That was for the younger linebacker type guys, and now all of a sudden it's something I'm trying to get on as much as I can so I can play and get reps.
Yeah, and I want to shift for a second. We'll come back to football,
Yeah.
but I think there was a powerful lesson that you said there. You're trying to make the team, and you're a defensive lineman. You want to play defensive line, but you learn quickly that you got to do whatever it takes to make the team until you can get to a place when you want to do what you really want to do. And I know, as you transition into a business owner, I would argue, and I think you'd agree, probably those principles still apply where you know what you want to be doing, but until you get to that place, you got to do what you got to do. And it might be a lot of things that you might not want to do,
Yeah.
but you have to be accepting of doing all this stuff that maybe isn't sexy, maybe isn't fun, maybe isn't what you want, in order to hopefully get to a place where you earn the right to do the stuff that you really want to get done, right?
Absolutely. That's it's business, it's relationships.
It's life.
It's life.
Life,
It's
right?
You gotta be willing to put in the time and the effort and the work. And like I said, whatever it takes. Like, sometimes there's days I don't want to be on a grill or cleaning a deep fryer, but sometimes
And you own the company.
and sometimes you got to do it. Like,
Yeah.
and that was the same in football, right? There's days where kickoff return wasn't my dream job, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You're there and you're part of the team, and you want to do whatever it takes to get on the field and to build yourself up and build that role.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on, and I know I'm a big believer in sports for our youth to teach them life lessons, right? More than just to get them cool dry fit t-shirts and all that good stuff, but to teach them and hopefully prepare them for the realities that they're about to face. And I know a lot of times in the world today, we deal with this difficult kind of situation where we're trying to make sure all kids get to play, all kids get to experience, the winning and the good stuff. But, I think at some point we got to be careful not to lose the valuable lessons that, you don't always win. And you don't always get to do everything you want to do. And not everyone gets to play the same amount of time. And sometimes you're just going to have to do stuff you don't want to do. And I'm a big believer that, teaching or learning that at a young age gives you that foundation, as you said. So when life really gets hard, you're already aware that, yeah, you want to do this, but this is what needs to get done. And that's the only way I'm going to ever have a chance to do the stuff I want to do, is to do this kind of hard, dirty work that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I think it's important. While I didn't push my kids into sport specific stuff, I wanted them to play sports for those reasons, to learn those lessons, to learn to be able to work with other people, to take direction from coaches, to have a friend, and maybe it doesn't go well for them or for you, but you're working through it together. And those are lessons that it's hard to find in real life until it's too late,
Yeah.
right? And if you're you don't know how to deal with those situations, it's easy to sort of pull back and not get involved. And that's not what we want. It's not what we want for our kids. And we want them to be involved and to be able to get up when they fall and when they have losses. I've had losses, lose every day. There's wins and losses all the time, right? And you just got to be able to keep stepping forward.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's one thing for someone to conceptually understand that. It's another thing to have learned it through reality again and again and again and sort of hardened yourself to that reality. And we're seeing the resilience of people that kind of have that, can weather storms and keep battling through. And you're right. I worry about people that have always been able to avoid those realities. When sooner or later it's going to hit. Life's going to make you do hard things. And if you're not prepared for it, you're right. Sometimes it's too late and you're not able to handle that and it becomes difficult. So, you're making your way on with the Argos, kind of building your way on, establishing yourself. I want to talk about the uniqueness of the CFL has always been the ability, if you want to do other things in the off season. There's the financial reality that, you weren't becoming a millionaire playing this game. And there was also the actual reality of time that we kind of had a real off season to really do what you wanted. We didn't, we weren't tied up with training all off season with the team. It was kind of voluntary. So you had that freedom if you chose to pursue other interests. So, we'll get into Veras in a minute, but how early did you start doing other things?
My first 3 years in Toronto, I was living at home in the off seasons. I would go back to Ottawa, live at home with my parents. So I wasn't really concerned about.
You weren't needed to yet.
I didn't have to. I had enough to sort of
still on
train.
Scholarship, as they said, right?
Still on scholarship. Exactly.
Still on scholarship.
Exactly. Food, room and board. It was
good life.
Covered. Yeah. So and the first couple of years you don't make very much at all, but it was enough to get by. And at that time I still wanted to train, right? But I knew I should be doing something. I knew I should be looking and start working and I probably did take a couple of interviews. I found it hard. The jobs not the manual labor jobs because I didn't want to tire myself out for the training, but the sort of office job, nobody really wanted me for 4 or 5 months a year. But I probably didn't look as hard as I should have in the first couple of years. And then when I came here out to BC and decided I was going to stay out here, that's when I really said, like, okay, I need to be.
It's more expensive too out here.
It is a little
Mommy
more.
and Daddy aren't putting you up.
I got year-round rent now,
Yeah.
and but it was time to start, looking to see what was going to be the future, and playing football. You're right, we don't make millions of dollars, and you don't know year to year.
Job stability is none.
Are you even going to be on the team?
Right, week to week for some people, you don't know, right?
You don't know, and so the thoughts started pretty early of looking to the future.
So you're part owner of Veras Burger Shack, and you obviously in the food industry. Was that where you always began? You kind of your outside job working, shall we say, or careers?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the meat industry. My dad had a wholesale meat company, and my brother runs our family butcher shop in Ottawa. So I was comfortable in the food business. Never ran a restaurant. So that was new to me.
So were you just eating free meat, or as a kid, or were you helping out?
Oh, I was helping out.
Okay.
We were unloading trucks.
You're not doing what I would have done, just been stealing salami on the side.
No, we were pulling, emptying trucks.
Okay.
Tractor trailers of.
You were doing the hard work.
Sides of meat coming in, and we would empty them and
like
bring
the
them into
Rocky
the cooler.
Balboa sides
Absolutely.
of meat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that was a couple summers. I worked in our family butcher shop a little bit, but I worked more at the wholesale company. And so yeah.
So you knew it.
So I understood a little bit about business. I wouldn't say I knew how to run a business, but I knew I was comfortable working in a business, and I understood the hours and the hard work that it took to run a business. My brother's up probably 5:30 every morning at the store, opening up and setting up, and he hasn't changed in 40 years. And my dad was the same. So learning those skills from them, seeing how hard they worked, it was. It was easy to sort of transition into the business side of things. And when I moved out here and went out to try a burger at the Shack in West Van and met Gerald and realized what a good burger it was, and I was sold right away.
So speak to that, the origins of Veras. You just alluded to it, but let's dive into a little more details behind your relationship with Gerald, your business partner, longtime friend. and finding this burger shack. Can you tell us kind
Yeah.
of how that all really played out?
So Gerald's wife, Marnie, and Donna, my wife, went to university together. So when I moved out here, they were sort of friends that I met before Donna moved out here. Donna said, call them up. And so they were really nice. They took me out and met them. And Gerald had a restaurant in Kitts that I'd go, visit him, and we became friends. And then the opportunity for him happened to take over the West Van concession, the Veras. And that was from a family friend of Marnie's also, way back. And he took it over, ran it for a season. I was playing with the Lions at the time. I would go out and visit them. And
What is this, 01, 2000,
this
something
is
like
2000.
that? 2000, okay.
Yeah. So he'd ran it for one summer. It was a seasonal concession right at Dunderave Pier. And after the summer, he had an opportunity to open in Kitts and asked if I wanted to join. And from there, we partnered up.
So for people that are obviously in the Lower Mainland here that are familiar with Veras Burger Shack and the great brand and the great burger that it is, it was already a brand before Gerald got involved. It was a burger shack literally on West Van in the beach there.
It was a concession stand in West Van.
And how long had it been around?
Vera was the original owner, and it wasn't branded as Vera's. It was
just known.
It was just known as Vera's, yeah.
For like decades?
For like 40 years.
Okay, so it was
Yeah.
kind of a local legendary hotspot for burgers. And then around 2000, 2001, Gerald
Took it
Took it
over.
over.
Yeah, the granddaughters were operating it, and I think she moved to Edmonton, and at that point the family wanted out.
Now, did Gerald and obviously when you got brought in the mix, was the plan from the get-go to not just own it as a burger stand there, but to now utilize that kind of brand and build it?
He ran it for a year. That was going to be his deal, his business. When the opportunity to open a kit store came, and we partnered up that way, I still wasn't involved in the West. It was just we were going to partner up for kits. And, I spent the off season working with them and working together. And I think at that point we said, hey, if we have a chance, let's partner up and let's grow this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so it took us about a year and a half, 2 years to sort of become fully partnered up. And at that point we said, all right, let's expand.
So this was 2000, right?
This was
2001?
2001 by the time we were fully partnered.
So you are 5-6 years into playing pro.
Yep.
You've worked a little bit on the side, but
Yep.
always as a job. You hadn't ventured into running a business on your own at any level, right?
Yep.
So walk me through sort of your mindset in terms of taking that leap. You're still playing pro ball. You're a professional athlete. So on the one hand, you have your paycheck. It's not guaranteed, but you've established yourself as a player. You have your seasons coming up. You're probably planning for the future, what you want to do, but you have no other entrepreneurship in your life to lean on. What kind of jump, kind of leap, how difficult was that for you to say, yeah, I'm in?
It wasn't difficult because I loved what he was doing. I loved the product. I trusted Gerald. I knew having the relationship with our wives as being friends and becoming friends with them as well once I moved here. It was pretty easy for me to do it. And initially, I was probably going to be more of a silent partner because I was playing football at the time and I only really had 4 or 5 months to give to work. But the first off season came and I just got right in there because I said, if this is part of my business, I want to learn as much as I can. So for me, it was the same as football, right? You just go in and do all the work and try and learn as much as you can. And
you're a rookie all over again, doing
Absolutely.
whatever needs to be done.
Absolutely. Right? And willing to listen, right? And, Gerald was in the restaurant business for a long time before that. So he was a great teacher and somebody that was willing to open up as well. Like he was happy to have a partner.
Yeah, I think you really hit on a really great entry point for you because you didn't have to do it all by yourself and you were able to go in with someone that had experience. But, I've given a lot of thought to this because you and I both know a great amount of ex-pro athletes that have gone on to be entrepreneurs and some more successful than others. And I've kind of looked at it in an interesting way because, you look at pro athletes, most of them are very driven people, right? You have to have that confidence in yourself, that belief in yourself. You have to have some form of really good work ethic or you're not going to make it, right?
Yep.
But I've always looked at football as interesting because at the professional level, as much as you're a worker for a team or a player for a team, we're really entrepreneurs on our own, right? Like we get cut any day.
Yep.
Each of us don't have guaranteed contracts. As much as you're part of a team and you're trying to help the team win, you're working for yourself, You're responsible for your product or you're gone.
Yeah.
But what I always thought was interesting was, as much as you kind of are an entrepreneur, you still don't have to make any decisions.
Right.
In the football world, right?
Right.
You're either really good at doing what you're told or you get cut.
Yeah.
And then you get in the business world, and you were kind of fortunate to have a partner, but so many football players that go in the entrepreneur world now, maybe for the first time ever, they got the work ethic, they got the drive, they got the determination, the ambition, they got all the things that you want, but their entire life they've had a coach saying, here's what you do. Here's exactly how you do it. And now they're looking around going, I got to figure this out. And I think that might be a lot bigger deal than a lot of people would probably kind of acknowledge or know about, the uniqueness of football, where we don't have to really do it. In fact, they didn't want you to do too much thinking.
Right. And not only, you don't have to pick the color of the
You don't have to pick
logo,
anything.
you don't have to pick what t-shirt to wear. Like it, I mean, there's literally every detail you can think of, right? And yeah, I agree. I was happy to have a partner, and especially one that was willing to do it on his own anyways. And anything I put in the off season that first year was a bonus. Like it was, so for me, it was huge to have a partner. And would I have been scared on my own? Absolutely. That's a whole different world, right? Like I was really investing in him and what his product was. And so for me, you asked me earlier if I was scared. I wasn't scared because I trusted in the product and I trusted him. And he was establishing his brand and what they were going to do. So for me, I didn't have to make every decision, and I was happy to just be involved in the decision making as opposed to doing it on your own. You're right. It's we're responsible for ourselves as football players, but to go out and make general manager decisions, we all think we can do it, and we all try and do it in our heads, but when you actually put your check on the line, it's a different story.
Yeah. So, okay, I know a lot of people begin small businesses on the side, and I guess from the get-go, you had your kits location.
Mm-hmm.
At what point did both of you probably sit down and say, okay, we got something here. Let's start growing this thing. Let's make it bigger than, we own a little restaurant here.
Yeah, it was probably after that first year. We, the shifts where we would oversee or work together, and it didn't take long for us to talk and say, hey, we got something here. Let's blow it up a little if we can.
Because you couldn't kick me out because I just kept eating those 3 and 4 patty burgers, and you go, okay, as long as Angus is in town, we're going to be all right.
I don't think you could do it anymore.
No, I don't think I could. I don't think I should do it anymore
you should
either.
not do it. You might not have been able to do it.
Like we had me stacking as many burgers, as many patties as we possibly could, just ramming them in.
You held the record for a long time.
Long time.
Something to be very proud of.
You're very proud of, yeah. It's interesting what 300-pound people are proud of.
Some of your kids will be very proud of you for.
Tell them, look, once upon a time, Daddy ate a burger this big twice.
Yeah, it's a lot of burgers.
But that must have been a mind shift, though, because pro football, even though the CFL does give you that off season, it's a full-time job in terms of constantly preparing yourself, being ready, and we both know this. The older you get, the harder you have to prepare to keep up with the younger people. And now here we are. You're getting into the meat of your career almost on the back end, and your business now is picking up. There's only so many hours in the day and only so much energy to give. Talk about kind of that in terms of your decision mind of where you're putting your focus. How did it shift?
Yeah, that was the hardest part for me because, to get into this league was very hard to maintain, and finally get starting and playing felt like hard. And so you're finally at the point where you're getting as many reps as you want, and you're playing well, and all of a sudden your off seasons are filled with work and it's getting busier. And now I got kids. And that was the hardest part for me. I couldn't dedicate as much time to training as I needed to and wanted to, and that's when I knew it was time. Like I just felt like I wasn't giving my all to the football training anymore, and I didn't have the time to do it. So it was time to retire. But that was a hard decision for me because you want to play as long as you can, right? Or the mindset is early, play for forever. Wait till they kick you out, right? And
who would ever voluntarily stop, right?
Right. And I would have said that earlier for sure. I don't feel the same way now. Like I was happy when I retired. I retired in 2004.
After winning the Grey Cup, by the way.
2005.
That's right.
No, after winning the Grey Cup.
After beating us to win the
Grey Cup.
Lions
in the Grey Cup, yes.
Thank you.
Played one more season, and I was good. I felt like I was ready to retire. I was focused on with the kids were in schools at that time, so it was hard to pull them out and move back to Toronto. And then so I retired, And then I got a call to come back halfway through the season to, somebody got hurt.
Kind of like St. Mary's basketball.
It was the same. And it's, I think Doug Davies did it when I was playing. I think we had a kick. Hank Olisic did it.
Tony Martino did it with the Lions.
They would fly him in just for games. And that's what they did for me for the last 5-6 games.
But you were a defensive lineman. You weren't a kicker and a long snapper.
I know. And I hadn't really trained. And so I agreed to go the one game. They asked if I'd stay. I said I had commitments. So I was flying back and forth for the last 4 or 5 games, and then for the playoffs, I stuck around. But it sounded like the dream. It wasn't the dream. Right. It wasn't what I wanted. I didn't feel good about it. I wasn't playing very well, and so yeah, I wish I would have stayed retired.
But I think there's an interesting lesson there, and I'd love your insight, and maybe we'll call it advice. If Vera's, let's say you got involved around 2001, you finally officially retired in 2005. Yeah. Now that's 3.5 to 4 real years there where you were still playing pro football and building your business at the same time. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people out there that they have their job, whatever their job may be, but they still want to start and their dream is to do whatever. And they think they have to quit everything to get it going. Or the other, then there's another group that say, try to build it small on the side as you can, as you're, still earning your stable income. So you don't throw and risk everything on the line. I'd love your thoughts on your advice, because you seem to kind of do it on the side till it couldn't do it anymore, and then was able to transition away from your original dream kind of to your next venture that way, instead of just, okay, I got to go in Veras, I better stop football and better go all in now. And now you have no income for the next 2 years and you're panicking and freaking out. But I know there's people that do that. They say, look, it's all in or all out. And you were able to sort of blend starting one as you were completing the other for a few years, shall we say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important I think for the young guys that are playing, I think it's important that they go out and either try jobs, volunteer at places, figure out what they want to do next, because we all know football doesn't last for forever. For me, it was huge to be able to play, knowing that I had something that I was working towards and trying to build as I was playing. And again, lucky I had a partner to help me when I was away, because those last 4 years I flew back to Toronto, so I really wasn't around to help out. But it was important for me to sort of get started on something, because do you remember Norm Casola?
No.
So Norm was a teammate of mine in Toronto my first 3 years there, and he actually passed away from testicular cancer. Oh. But Norm was a guy that it was a joke for us. We'd sit on the bus and we'd be like, oh, what are you going to do this offseason? Or what are you going to do next year? And then we try and figure out, what's that guy going to do when he retires? What's he going to do when he retires? And it's scary. There's 40, 50 guys that have put so much work and effort into playing something and doing something that they love, but they're going to turn 24, 25, 26 and be done and have to start a whole new life again. And it's, and you hope that those guys, like you said, because they're driven, if they can put the same amount of effort that they put into their football into that next profession, they'll be great. But some guys they're retired. They want to be done. Like, they think they're over. Well, in our league, we don't make enough to retire.
No. And what's really, really difficult is, I think you're right. I think you should try to do other things immediately, right away, because, absolutely. Well, and I'm going to look at it from the psychological aspect of, when you were a rookie with Toronto, you had to do all the dirty stuff, all the hard stuff. You want to be defensive lineman, but you had to cover kicks and you had to be on kickoff return, and nobody dreams of doing that for a living, but it's what needed to be done. And I think the longer you wait to do something else, the more established you become. You might become a leader, an all-star, a real somebody, and it's so easy to forget the need to do the hard stuff. And now you're 6-7 years in, you're a league all-star, and like, okay, you got to try something on the side, and you're a nobody in that industry. You're a rookie, and you got to do grunt work, and that is difficult, being an all-star here and being a nobody here at the same time. And that can be, I think, terrifying for some people.
It's terrifying.
They'll shy away from it.
It's humbling. It's but that's life, right? And you just can't be scared to step right in there and do the work and stay a little bit later. And there's stories of guys that stay late and come early. All those great stories of quarterbacks, first one in the room, and well, that applies when you go to the next job as well.
Yeah,
that's work as well. You got to put the extra work in if you want to be successful.
It's funny sometimes. I played with people that they seem to be able to put kind of in an issue, hard work here but not hard work there. It was weird, right? We played with guys that put in so much work into football, but anything else they kind of wanted to coast and just coast by, and they didn't understand that hard work is universal and it's everywhere applied. And I think, you've obviously learned those lessons. So let's go on with Vera's. Obviously, no growth comes easy. So, you went into a business venture knowing a bit about meat industry, kind of growing up in it, not really understanding what it means to run your own business. You guys have success early. Vera's is great right off the bat. I think you had a great time in Vancouver where there was a few other kind of gourmet burger places. You grabbed it early, took charge of that brand, and really dominated the city from the early days of Vera's on. But no growth comes without hardship. Talk about learning curve and things that you had no idea would hit, or struggles on the way, or some of the biggest things that you think were challenges that you had to get through on this growth.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs, and expanding isn't easy. It's when you go at the beginning. You're right. We thought we had a brand that was moving forward and exciting, and we tried to open as many stores as we could. And obviously we made mistakes somewhere along the way. We lost a couple stores. Our thought process always going forward was, we're proud of the way we make our food. We're proud of what we serve. We're proud of the franchisees we brought on. And it doesn't always work, but you got to keep going, right? Like, we what do we have? We have 10 locations now, and I think we were up to 16 at one point. So we've lost some stores along the way, and some were rent related, some were location related. But like I said, we wake up every morning, we try and put out the best product we can every day.
At what point how many stores did you have before you decided to start franchising?
We were at 4 stores.
And was it always the goal to franchise, or did it hit a point where that was the best way to keep growing?
We got to a point where we were looking at competitors coming against us, looking at the location size that we were. It was a very popular 1,200 square feet that sort of everybody wanted at the time. And we said, if we need to defend our position in the city, we need to start opening locations, and to do that without franchises would have taken us a long, long time. And so we decided to go the franchise route and try and build and help other people run their own businesses.
You do it again? Franchise route?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The hardest part, the difference between our corporates and our franchises was, all of a sudden you're bringing in partners, but we always looked at our employees as partners anyways. Like, we depended on them to run stores. We couldn't run every store we had. Growing up, when we first started expanding, my family business that ran this one butcher shop only, that had opportunities to expand. My dad would always say, like, how can you run more than one store? Like, you can't be there all the time. And I said, well, in order for us to grow, you're right, we can't be there. We have to trust other people and try and train them properly. And I mean, there's obviously companies that do it. Everybody does it. It's just, you got to be able to train them properly. And so that was our goal, was to open more stores and to try and be the training center and help other locations be successsul.
So here we are, pretty much 20 years in now.
Yeah.
To Veras. Wow, where did that time go? I remember your opening day, I think.
Tell me about it.
I might have crushed one of the first 3 burgers there.
at least one.
So here we are, 20 years in. Are you where you thought you'd be? Are you speak to that in terms of looking back, where this all came from. Where are you in terms of where you guys would have thought, or wildest dreams, or anything along that lines?
I think in our wildest dreams, we would have been at least part of across Western Canada at this point.
Okay.
We would have expanded into another province and gone from there. After the Olympics came and went, we had opportunities. We had a couple different cities and provinces that we're looking at doing deals with that, didn't happen for whatever reason. Whether we asked for too much up front, whether somebody didn't want to expand too quickly, whatever happened, they just didn't get done. And I think if we look back, we probably should have just went in and opened a couple stores in a different city ourselves and tried to expand that way. But we didn't. We were focused on growing here, and we weren't willing to bring on the manpower to sort of expand quickly into another province.
What about now?
Still some opportunities. We're still looking. My brother opened a shop in Ottawa. Probably it's been about 8 years now, in his butcher shop. So that has brought some opportunities in Ottawa that also haven't happened yet. But we're looking at, for us, it's the right people.
Yeah.
Working with the right people, finding the right people, because they are your partners, and somebody that, if we want to grow into Alberta, we need the right person who's going to help us grow in Alberta, and because it's not going to be Gerald or I moving there, it's going to be that person running the show there, and that's somebody we have to trust, and they have to trust us, and that hasn't been easy for us to find.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's always comes down to people.
It always comes down to people.
But your restaurant itself comes down to burgers, and you'd always been known to have kind of named burgers. You'd have your customary kind of neat burgers, and you used to have the Cantor Burger, right? One bite and you'll sing, I believe the catchphrase was. And now it's missing from the menu. What happened to the Cantor?
The Cantor Burger has been taken off the menu.
Why? Too good?
It's a nostalgia burger, You have to have been around a long time to know what.
So does it come back like the retro uniforms?
It hasn't yet, but one day it'll come back. It was funny. We had fried salami on the burger, if you remember, fried salami and fried onions. The salami was getting hard to find. It was hard for us to bring it in. People didn't understand what it was. Like, they didn't get the idea of fried salami on a burger. So it wasn't.
That's their fault.
Well.
Come on.
Partly their part, partly our fault. We maybe didn't
take a bite and you'll get it. You'll understand.
I should have been bringing out Cantor Burgers everywhere, trying to promote the burger, but it wasn't a big seller, and so it was kind of easy to take off. Like, for me, it didn't matter that it was my name on the burger. Like, I don't really care about that stuff. But like I said, you get to I don't know who does it, but the company where you're the lowest salesman, you're out, you're gone, right?
Jimmy Patterson's company,
right?
That's
right. So that was our burger. It made it to the bottom. It had to go.
Oh. So what do franchise owners have any potential say in having their own unique burger on the menu?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can come to you and say, "Look, we want to do this, we want to do that," and so there's flexibility for each location to maybe have some uniqueness to them.
Yep.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah, we're open. We're open to that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah. Are you open to Impossible Meat?
We are open to it. We like our veggie burger. We think it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do give your eaters options though.
Absolutely. We have a veggie burger. It's a plant-based veggie burger.
You can't beat Vera's meat, even meatless meat.
Absolutely. We take pride in our veggie burger. It's we tried all of them. We tried the two big companies. We thought ours was better. Secrets.
The secret behind Vera's success. Tell me, what is it? 20 years now. That's no joke.
I think we take pride in what we do, and we take pride in the product we put out there every day. And, we try and treat people fairly. We treat our franchisees fairly. We try and treat our customers fairly. We try and give value for what you get. I think those are important things for us.
What makes Vera's Burger different, though, and better than the competition?
We use a fresh burger, and we hand spice it ourselves. Each store makes their own burgers. Their own patties, and I think that does make us different. We're not ordering burgers in from so-and-so company. We bring the meat in, we put our spice pack into it, and we make the patties.
How quickly did you get sick of eating your own burger?
Never.
You can eat. So I hear these stories, of people running restaurants, and after 6 months, they it's their dream they've made their favorite food ever, but after months, it's like they can't even look at it anymore. You can still go in any given time and enjoy that Vera's Burger. Oh, good for you.
Now, I don't.
Where's mine?
I don't need. And now I was thinking about bringing some out here, but the 1:15, 1:30 call. I figured you already shoved some lunch in your face. But
I can still crank down a second lunch from time to time.
I figured you could, but I don't need as much or as many as I used to. But I definitely still
never lost the taste for it.
Never.
20 years running.
Never.
That to me might be your biggest marketing statement there. No, seriously, to have 20 years eating the same burger and still love it just the same is something. So. No more football, obviously. We were laughing before air what you do for sports, and men's league basketball is crazy. We all know recreational football for 45, 50-year-olds just doesn't exist for a very good reason.
Yes.
For very good reasons, because I know people that would show up.
Exactly.
And then the emergency rooms would be a lot busier than they need to be.
There was an article about a 45-year-old going to try out or something.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Crazy.
There's people doing crazy things all the time. So what fills your favorite kind of enjoyment? I don't want to use the word sport, but some type of pastime now.
Well, I like to fly fish, and I think it is a sport because it takes some skill, and you have to take some practice to get good at it. So
is it an athletic sport?
It is an athletic sport. It
takes athleticism.
There are days when I'm sore.
Being sore doesn't mean you're athletic. I know people that are sore for things that have nothing to do with athletic movement.
I brought a few people out walking on those rocks, you have to be a bit of an athlete.
All right,
I've seen
all
some
right.
people fall in the
we
water.
can argue about this for too long to go down this road. I'm not against fly fishing, but to call it an exhibition of athleticism, I'm gonna be careful here.
I'll take you out one day. We'll see.
Just because I can't do it and I get sore doesn't mean it required athleticism. Let's be very clear on this.
All right. So,
But
yeah,
that's-
I like to get out fishing. I like fly fishing.
And how frequently can Noah Cantor get out in today's world with kids and running a business?
There's a point where the last 5-6 years, I try and get out once a week.
Your kids go with you? They like it
I
yet?
bring my son. My girls won't come with me, but or they haven't yet, but they say they will, but they still haven't. I'll bring Wes. Wes will come with me.
Who
once
got
in a
you
while.
into it?
Herman Smith.
Oh, yeah?
Eric,
Herman, really?
Eric Carter and Bo Lewis. So
They all grew up doing that in the South, probably.
Yeah, it was my second year with the Lions, and Bo lived with a guy who was out on the Fraser River catching sockeye, and I went out with them. Never knew anything about fishing. It was gear fishing, it wasn't fly fishing, but it was amazing. It was so nice to be out there and standing in the water catching fish, and so I went out with them a few times. And the next couple of years, those guys were all gone, and I tried fly fishing, and I just wanted to learn it on my own, and got into it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got some, great fishing partners, and I like getting out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that people speak about playing pro sports. One thing that gets missed, particularly in the CFL, is the ability to meet so many unique different people and have time to try new things with them. CFL was able to give us enough space and time to go do things with each other, and you're like, you're together with all these people that come from so many different backgrounds and have all these different interests and talents, and the amount of things that you learn to do because of people you meet and be able to do it, I think was one of the great privileges of playing in that league. The variety of people and just the different things that you get exposed to is something that I never thought that's why that was going to be a great benefit of football. But boy, is that something that really has lasted.
Yeah, and we played in BC, Toronto, to be in one of those smaller
your Winnipegs, your Saskatchewans.
You're with those guys all the time.
All the time.
Like they seem to have closer bonds than, BC, we finish practice, everybody sort of spreads out and goes their own way.
Well, there's only 14 other people in that city. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying.
There's two restaurants and one gas station.
I'm not saying I wanted to go there.
No.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
But even still, we still have these great relationships with guys that you played with, right? And, it's even great to see a couple guys stick around in the city after they finish playing. And, so we're lucky that way with close bonds.
So I'll put you on the spot a little bit. COVID has put a wrinkle into so many businesses out there, and I know, you spoke in Veras has been able to manage its way through. I know you spoke a lot about doing some more takeout and adapting, being smart, doing what everyone has to do, adapt to the circumstances. So what about the league you and I used to play on? Any thoughts? I mean, obviously they missed the whole season now, and you can speak to it as a business owner, missing an entire year of your business. What do you think the CFL looks like moving forward?
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, the fact that they had to lose a whole season, potentially lose players to free agency, obviously made sense to them financially to do it because they weren't willing to risk losing that much money without fans in the stands. And nervous for them. I hope they can get back open and put one foot in front of the other and get back out there again because they probably won't have fans in the stands like they need. But they're going to have to take a bit of a risk, and if they want to survive, because they won't be able to survive 2 years out, that's for sure.
No business can.
You see the news today?
XFL. So at one point,
interesting.
the CFL paid The Rock $7 to be in training camp. Now The Rock might own half of the CFL.
Crazy.
Funny how the world turns, hey?
Yeah, it won't happen, but
it makes for news. It gets people talking.
But exactly, it's
important.
The fact that CFL's in the news is great.
I agree with you.
And hopefully they'll come back. And I've seen with my sons playing it at the young level now, Westside Warriors, and kids are into football. They've always been into football, but it's nice to see. And hopefully they miss the CFL, and hopefully people will support them when they come back.
So your boy's playing Westside?
Yeah.
And, after everything you've done, you've just turned 50.
Yeah.
You've had a lifetime playing sports, and particularly football, for a long, long time. You ventured into business, been successful. There's been a lot for at least the last decade now, attack on football and the dangers and the damages and the problems with the sport in terms of health of our youth. Given everything you know now at the age you are, and all the residual, I don't want to use the word damage, all the residual things football has done for you, good and bad. If you were now able to go back 30 years, 35 years, with the information and knowledge you have personally, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely would do it again. And, you know, with all the information, and maybe there's way more information out there now than we ever had, but
there is.
there is a lot. And, you know, so I didn't want my son playing at an early age, but now that he's in high school and, you know, he's in grade 10 right now, it's, you know, if you make the choices, you have the information in front of you. If you want to play, I support you. And
it's coached so much better now, though, too, right?
It's
in terms
coached
of
better.
Safety's paramount now.
Like, we were taught to lead with our heads.
Contact was paramount when we played, right?
It was.
How could you hit harder?
Hat in hands. The hat came first.
It was almost backwards, right? Like now it's realized that the hat is a safety piece of equipment. We used it. It was a weapon.
Yeah, it was smash your face mask together and then come with your hands to follow up. And they don't teach that anymore. And yes, the coaching's better. The kids are way more aware. But the lessons you learn from it, the camaraderie, like I said, the life lessons are totally worth it, in my opinion. It's way better than sitting in front of a computer playing video games and social media. Like, you're not learning anything from there.
So you don't know specifics, but obviously you hire a lot of youth in the industry you're in, relatively youth, younger people, right? And do you notice a substantial difference for hiring in general, ones that have played a lot of sports, a lot of team sports, and other ones that maybe were raised playing just video games, sitting around watching TV?
Absolutely. You see how people, they react better with people. They understand team mentality, and that's huge. Like, to be able to work with a team, how many people work on their own out there? Hardly anybody. Even if you think you're on your own, you still need people around you. Like, there's still support staff, whatever. You need to be able to work with people, and I think team sports teach that better than anybody.
I tend to agree, and you know, I think the greatest thing team sports will do also is forge relationships that last well beyond the field. And I think it gives you a framework of friendships that really isn't developed in any other way except for going to practice every day with people, winning with them, losing with them, getting your butt kicked by a team, and then kicking their butt the next time. It bonds people on a level that most other interactions in life just don't give you that kind of depth.
Absolutely. That's, you know, the whole going to war with somebody or you know, that you build that relationship because you've gone through the ups and downs with them, and you've put in the work together, and you've seen how hard they've worked and how hard you've worked.
You have trust on a real level now, right? Because you've done it with them for real, and you've seen people almost break, and you've held each other up and pushed each other forward. And kind of on that note, I would like to leave it at the fact that, you know, we're only doing this 20 years later because I met you with football. We were teammates, and then we were competitors against each other, which made us become friends. And, you know, we were friends on a level that we had done hard things together. So you know who people are, and here we are in the business world. You running your business, I'm on the insurance side, and there's trust built that, you know, I can do my part to help you with your business, and then anything else we can do to help each other. And you realize the world gets easier when you have friends that are developed through tough times, and you know, you come together and you do things together, and you support each other with whatever you can do. Yeah,
like we said earlier, it comes down to people, friendships, bonds that you build with people, and sports, business, relationships, your kids, all that stuff. You need to put some effort and time in, and you'll be rewarded for it.
I agree. And so every year we move on, football memories become older and older, and we can lie about them more and more because the film becomes harder to find. So that's a one benefit. But we get deeper into our next phase of our life, which is, you know, our children, our family, and the businesses that we run. So, you know, I'm excited to see 20 more years of Vera's and see the growth and where you guys go, and you keep making those great burgers that I've always loved and supported, and to keep seeing you, Noah, do great. And maybe we get this podcast going, so we'll do your 60th birthday here and the 70th, and we can talk about Vera's across the country and taking over everything, and keep sharing the story of, you know, just because you were great at one thing doesn't mean you can't be great at something else, but it takes that work. It takes that willingness to be okay starting again and starting at the bottom and doing the dirty work and learning something new and not being content that, you know, you used to be good at something, so everything else should be easy. And I think you're a great testament to never being scared of, if it's the bottom you got to start at, then you start there and you work your way up, do what you got to get done, and amazing things can happen over time. So congratulations to all your success so far with, you know, I remember the early days when you started this, and you've just been a great example, not just to young athletes, that there's life after football and there can be great life after football, but to any young entrepreneur that is kind of scared and uncertain about trying a new venture, that, you know, you put the work in and you partner with good, smart people, and you know what you can do and you know what you can't do, and you just put everything you have into something, amazing things like Veras can happen. So congratulations, Noah, and thanks for coming on today.
Well, thanks, Angus. Thanks for having me, and it's been great being friends with you over the years. And after watching your Instagram for the last couple of months, now that I'm sort of getting the hang of it, you're inspiring as well, buddy. You've done a lot of great things for a lot of kids and people, and you make me want to work out again.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been too long since I've had a Veras Burger, so that's next on the hit list for me, and we'll get that on the Instagram, chomping down on our old school double
good.
cheeseburger.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank you.